Today I'm going to be reviewing the Kobalt XTR 24V cordless impact driver. This is the newest generation. This is the second generation 24V impact driver from Kobalt. It just came out today, March 13, 2020 at my local store. Not all Lowe's stores have this, only a few stores have it right now. This is the older first generation Kobalt 24V impact driver, and just to compare between the two, they look a little bit different. So in this video I'm gonna do a review of this impact driver, and I'm also gonna do a comparison between the new one and the old one, and then finally I'm gonna do a tear down, open up this impact driver and compare with the old impact driver to see how different it is compared to the old one. Let's get started. But first, let's open this up and check it out. Are you ready? Da-da! Here is the new and improved 4 amp-hour battery. Wow, this thing is huge. This is the older 2 amp-hour battery pack. This is a new 4 amp-hour ultimate output. As you can see, it's a little bit wider. I'd say about 1 centimeter wider on this side, and it's longer, about, let's say, 1.5 centimeter longer. Just a little bit thicker. Just a little bit thicker. Say about 1.5 centimeter taller than the 2 amp-hour. And here's the older 4 amp-hour battery pack, and side-by-side comparison, it is just a little bit shorter. I'd say about 0.5 centimeter shorter, but it is way longer. Look at that, about 2 centimeters longer. I'm dying to see what's inside this battery pack, but I guess I gotta hold my horse because we have to do a review of the impact driver. So inside the box we also have the charger, which is the same as the older generation, and we have the belt clip, which looks a little bit different than the older generation. So here is the belt clip. It looks like the previous generation belt clip. Looks exactly the same actually, except that it has a piece of plastic attachment right on the belt clip so that you can put your drill bit on it, just like so. The older generation is different. It has a separate piece, but for this one you can put 2 bits. This one you can only put 1 bit. Well, I guess you can put 2 bits on it if you just push it in about, let's say, 1/4 of the way. Now you can have 2 bits instead. That's pretty cool. And now, last but not least, the impact driver. Check this out. Oh, the difference here is there's only one side to mount the belt clip. On here, nothing on the other side. The older generation you can mount on both sides, but this one only has one mount on one side only. So I've just mounted the belt clip on, and unfortunately, because it's only on one side, on the left side of the impact driver, it's only for right-handed people. If you're left-handed, it's kind of awkward. If you're trying to hook it on your belt or something, it's kind of awkward. Now let's take a look at the specification and compare between the two impact drivers. So I've got the manual here. This is from the new impact driver. So the specs for the new one is on the left. This is for the old one, and as you can see, the speed, the no load speed, the new one is maximum 3400 RPM, whereas the old one 2700 RPM. So the new one is about 25% faster speed compared to the old one, and the maximum torque of the new one is 2400 inch-pound, whereas the old one is 1800 inch-pound. So that's about 33% more torque compared to the old one. The impact per minute, it's got 3 speed, whereas the old one, I looked at the manual and only says 1 speed. So I'm not sure if that is variable or not, but the maximum impact speed of the old model is 3500 IPM. For the new one, maximum speed is 4000 IPM. So as you can see, the specs of the new impact driver is a lot better than the old model. Is it really in real life? And that's what we're going to find out later in this video. First, let's do a physical comparison between the two impact drivers. 143mm, and the new one is a bit shorter. It's 138mm, so it's about 5mm shorter. My ruler is too short to measure the height of the impact driver, but if I just eyeball the difference between the two, I can say the new one is about 1 centimeter taller than the old one. That much taller. Now let's compare the weight. The first gen, 1112 grams. XTR model, 1140 grams. So that's not much, about what, 28 grams heavier than the older generation. That's not much, about, I would say about 2 to 3%, but 3% heavier. So next I want to compare the noise level between the two impact drivers. So on the left we got the old model impact driver, on the right is the new model. Both have fully charged 4 amp hour battery packs. Both are at the highest speed, which is the number 3 level. On this side we got level number 3. Let's try the older model first. Now next is the new model. So about 99 decibel. So the new impact driver is 9 decibel louder than the old one, so it's about 10% louder. Another difference between the two impact drivers is the LED. So the older model LED is right on top here. The newer model LED is down here. And the level of light between the two impact drivers are, I would say, about the same. But the difference here is that the new impact driver, it has a diffuser. So the light is scattered out more instead of focus on a smaller area. And just like the older model, the new model, the trigger switch is variable speed. So I'm putting on level 3 speed now, and if I just do it lightly, it will go slow. Faster if I push it down a little bit more. There's a major difference between the two impact drivers, and that is the speed selector switch. For the older model, it's a physical switch. For the newer model, it's electronic. So there's a button here, and you can push it down and you can select the speed. So that is assist mode. That's 1, 2, and 3. The assist mode is not mentioned in the manual, but according to the box, it says it reduces screw cam out and cross threading. Screw cam out happens when there's too much torque applied on the top of the screw, and the bit would slip over the top of the screw and damage the top of the screw, as you can see from the left screw over there. And cross threading occurs when there's too much torque applied to the bolt. When you drive it through the nuts here, and not at a straight angle, but rather tilted a little bit, and that would damage the threads of both the bolt and the nut. So basically what this assist mode does is it would start slowly, and then when it drives the screw, it will also drive slowly and less aggressively than the other modes, so that will prevent both of these from happening. So next, let's do some actual tests on these impact drivers. I've got my van here and I'm going to remove some lug nuts from my wheel. I haven't worked on my car for a long time, so these lug nuts should be very tight. The new collet on the new impact driver is exactly the same as the old one. So you just pull this and push in your bit. And because this is a 1/4 inch collet, I have to use 2 adapters in order to use my socket. So 1/4 inch to 3/8 adapter, and then from 3/8 to 1/2 inch, and then my socket. It looks pretty long. So for these tests, the old impact driver is going to use the older 4 amp hour battery pack, and the new impact driver with the new 4 amp hour battery pack. First up is the first generation impact driver. No problem at all. Next is the new XTR impact driver. Well, it does hesitate a little bit. Let's try one more. Probably the same, but it's hard to compare because this impact driver has no problem removing all of these lug nuts. Alright, let's drive some screws. I've got some 3-inch wood screw and my lock here ready to go. So let's give it a try. So first I'm going to try level 3, which is the fastest. That's quite quick. Now let's try the assist mode. There you go. As you can see, it starts quite slowly, and when it drives the screw, it takes its time compared to the other level 3. See the smoke coming out. It's boiling. So my next test, I want to compare the driving speed between the 2 impact drivers and see which one is faster. So the first one is the first generation impact driver. Speed is number 3, so the fastest speed. I also got my phone here. I'm going to time how fast it goes to complete 1 screw. So here we go. Let's start. Stop. Next is the second generation impact. Let's start. Stop. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this bigger lag bolt here. With this bolt, I should be able to see the difference. First up, the first generation impact driver. Speed level is number 3. Alright, let's start. Wow. Broke it in half. Alright, I'm done with this bolt. It just can't take it. 3 times broken in half. Alright, let's try something different. This bolt is about half the size and smaller in diameter. Here we go again. First gen impact. And start. This one is second gen XTR impact. And start. Stop. When I drive the bolt with the new impact driver, it feels like it goes a lot faster, and I feel like it has a lot more oomph than the old impact driver. So next, I'm going to disassemble and tear down both these impact drivers and show you what's inside. So here is the inside of the two impact drivers. On the right side we got the older model, on the left side is the newer model, and they look completely different design. From far away the motors look similar, but if you zoom in, they are different motors and different triggers, different motor control. This one has a motor control over here. This one, the motor control goes down here. So let's take a look at the motor of the older model impact driver. We got the 3-phase power wire, and we got the hall sensor. This is 6-pin hall sensor wire, or solder onto this board here. So this board is, there's nothing on it except a place where they solder the wires onto it. It's just for support. It's not a controller board. Controller board is way down here. So on this motor we got a rotor at the center, permanent magnet inside. You see it's stuck to my screwdriver. And then on the outside we got the stator, which has 6 poles, 6 of these coils. And over here we got the motor from the new XTR impact driver, and you can see it has no hall sensor wire. It's gone. So there are only 3-phase power wire coming in, and also the green board, this board, is also gone. I guess because it doesn't have a hall sensor, so they got rid of the board, because the board here is just for a place to support the hall sensor wire. So this motor here is basically almost the same as the old generation motor, except that it doesn't have a hall sensor. So we got the rotor on the inside, and we got the permanent magnet right here. It's stuck to my screwdriver. And we got the stator on the outside with 6 coils. So this motor here is called brushless DC hall sensorless motor, whereas this motor here from the older generation is a brushless DC with hall sensor. So this motor here is very similar to the motor you see in your electric bike. The fan on the old impact driver is on the back, whereas the fan on the new impact driver is in the middle, where you see the board from the old impact driver. I guess they can move to the middle to replace the board, because this board is gone. And this part on the front is exactly the same. So I guess the new impact driver is a little bit shorter because this board is gone. Let me show you the close-up look of the old impact driver. That's the motor, trigger, controller board. And here is the close-up look of the new impact driver. That's the motor, trigger, and motor controller. It's all encased in silicone. It's amazing how this little motor can provide so much power and torque. So to sum up, does the new impact driver deliver what is promised? Answer is yes, absolutely. It is faster and it has a lot more torque, a lot more power. Or maybe it's because of this battery. That's what I want to find out in the next video. So my next video, I'm gonna do a review and tear down on this battery. I'll show you what's inside. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.